Alright guys, got it all built, assembled. It's been about 5 minutes since I've owned this now. I'm going to start ripping it apart. I'm going to put a mid-drive conversion in it. So first, I'm just going to start off by getting ready here. Pop the chain off. Get that out of my way. Let that hang from there. Put the wrench here. Start pulling this crank apart. This particular bike, the race face cranks, so it takes the ISIS style crank puller. Screw this down into the crank. And I'll tighten this up until she gets tight. Screw that until it gets loose and it pops right off. So we're done with this. Mid-drive comes with its own crank. That'll go in the parts pile. Now, this one's a one-piece side and the other spindle, so it's time to pull off this cup holder. Okay, now we'll need to pull out the other side over here. All right, crank is out. Now I need to get rid of the front derailleur. Of course. Now, as you can see here, got our new BBSHD. It's time for this. Go in. Okay. Now I'm going to need to shim it. This comes with the shim kit. And what I'm going to need to do is shim this away from this chainstay so that this gear doesn't hit it. So it looks like I'm going to need a couple of these shims. I'll just slide on there like so. I'll try it again. Alright. Now, that's in. This doesn't hit. So we need to check for, next, is that the chain ring won't hit the chainstay. That actually fits in. So we're good to go there. Okay, now you can see right here we've got the splines. They're up. They're going to grip into this, which is going to keep your motor here so it doesn't pivot down. When we do that, there's going to be a little space in between here. But they include spacers. Looks like it'll be that and a washer. So we'll use those spacers and the washer. Okay, that washer is too thick. This will take a little bit of time depending on how, the more you shim the far side, the geared side, the more you're going to need to shim this side. Once that tightens down, I actually think that might be alright. So then before we tighten anything on this step, we'll just get all of our pieces together and snug them up. Once everything's aligned, then we'll go ahead and tighten them up. Make sure all of our clearances are still good. That's still good. That's still good. Good there. Got our clearance there. Now we're just gonna screw these in lightly. Don't get too carried away with them just yet. Don't want anything binding in case it's not perfectly aligned. We're gonna do a final adjustment here. Okay, now everything is snugged up. Everything's looking well. Everything's looking good here. We've got clearance there. Our clearance is our gearbox. It's kind of hard to see with the camera, but you can see light right through there. It's not quite touching, but I've got it about as close as I can. My spacer's there. My spacer's there. Get that in focus. Okay, now that all that is set, we'll go ahead and tighten this. We'll tighten these. That'll prevent this from coming down. It'll suck it tight to this frame. So I'll go ahead and do that now. And we'll take our left crank there. Okay, now that that part is done, you can flip it over from here. Probably make it a little bit easier to work with. All these here will branch out. This one will go up into there. I'll tuck it under my battery. I'll run it up along into there. Got it flipped over. This will be our speed sensor. The wire back here, it's got a slip collar on it, and it'll screw back there. So it's going to come around here, probably zip tie there and do something like this. This is our main cable that's going to go up to the display. This of course is going to be our battery. I think I'm going to direct solder this for best power. And then this is going to be for the derailleur cutout. This is going to cut power as I'm shifting gears, so it'll go to the other side, it'll go up over here, and I'll cut that into the derailleur cable here. So here we have the main cable. It's going to plug into this. This is going to go up, plug into your display, plug into your brake cutoffs. Make sure you get these two little arrows lined up when you're plugging it in. Plug it in good there. Now it's going to come up here. What I'm going to do is just kind of leave it there for now. I'm going to mount this battery here, and then I'm going to tuck this in right underneath of it, and then probably run it up like so here. That way I keep this joint out of the spray of the tire a little bit. It's a little more protected. Tucks in. So now I'm going to mount the speed sensor. This is accomplished. Put the magnet around the spoke, screw the back on here. You'll need to figure out a place along the chainstay that it'll work. The biggest problem that I've noticed with fat bikes is because of the distance to get around the tire. The sensor, which is this guy here, and it'll slide in and out. So when this mounts, you can have a little bit of adjustment. So you can adjust from there all the way into there. But even slid all the way out, I've found on a fat bike especially, there's not enough room. You can't get out far enough. So what I've done, we'll get in here and see if you can see this. Right there, as I've just hot glued a little piece of plastic on the back of this, and that's just going to get me out just far enough to mount that speed sensor. So then this will come up here and it'll mount about like so. Now I just need to figure out what's going to be my best routing here to get this out of the way and not to create too much slack to where it'll want to fall down and create problems. Don't want to get it in the way of the tire. I'd rather it on the outside of this chainstay over here. So we can probably make that work, and then you'll peel this little piece of double stick tape here, and then we'll just stick that there, and we'll take two zip ties, we'll cinch it up and make sure that it goes on and stays on. Because like you could see, this is already starting to want to kind of bounce around and not stay fixed too well. So there we go. Now that that's on, let's see if we can route this cable a little bit here, get it out of the way of the tire, put a couple of zip ties on to hold it. And we'll slide this magnet out so it's right in line with this sensor right here. That's done. We'll scoot this in. That's about what we want, right in there. Nice and close between these two magnets. Okay. This is going to be our gear sensor. And what we're going to do is we're going to mount this right into there So we'll take and pull the derailleur cable all the way out, cut the housing here, cut the housing here, and reinstall this, reinstall the cable, push it through here, readjust the derailleur, and then this will come in and it's going to plug in right here to this yellow HIGO connector. So again, we'll make sure that it's lined up. Go up here, make sure we've got enough cable. That'll work nicely right there. And that'll be almost straight shot to there. Might even go back here. Might even go there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the cable out of the derailleur, get this all out here. Then I'm going to cut this here, put that into there, reroute the cable through all this, readjust the derailleur, put that right there. We'll zip tie it up and then we're ready to do the handlebars. Start by removing the derailleur cable. Once you've got your cable pulled out, I pulled it all the way up to the derailleur on the handlebars. Figure out where this is going to sit best. And then what we want to do, this cable slides into about there, so it slides inside of it a little bit. So we're going to want to cut this. Okay, so I've got my derailleur cable cut. The housing's cut. So as you can see, this will just slide right back in its place, like so. So I'll push the cable through. And then I'm going to push it through this guy here, which is the sensor itself. So you just find the hole and work it through. When it comes out, then you'll continue feeding it through down to the derailleur. Okay, there it is. And once it's down out of your derailleur, pull it nice and tight, feed it back through. And we'll come back up here. And then we'll come back to this guy here. Might even use that derailleur there. So there's how that sits. So you're going to make sure that these are pushed in nice and tight here. You're going to pull it nice and tight here. Then you're going to readjust your derailleur. Okay, so I just mounted the display. That just slides on. I put the throttle over on the left hand side. Couldn't fit with the right. It's just I didn't like the way it fit in the derailleur. Shifters, brake, all that other stuff. Put on my other grips. Adjusted everything. Display there. Plugged them in there. And I'm just going to, I'm not hooking the brakes up on this since these are hydraulic and I don't like the little glue-on sensors. So, and the new BBSHD is pretty quick responding for cadence. These being hydraulic, they'll overcome it anyways. Alright guys, so I finally got my battery in. So I'm going to be installing this. What I'm going to do is take this apart and I'm going to solder these wires directly into the battery. That way I won't have this plug using, hopefully get a little bit better efficiency that way. So first thing, make sure that put this on my holder and figure out where this is going to fit. That looks like it'll fit nicely there. So take this. We've got these little rubber adapter spacer things that are going to help transition between the flat pack and the round frame. So that's nice. And there we go. It fits. Go ahead and zoom this in and I'll show you what I'm doing. Now all of that fits good, like it's supposed to. So this is what it looks like inside here. I'm just going to undo these connections here, and I will take the lead from the motor, run it up inside there. We'll figure out, I need about that length. I'll cut it, solder it, reattach it. Okay, pop this block out. Okay. Alright, we've got the battery on. The conversion is done. Now, we'll go ahead and fire it up. Okay. There we go. All the assists are working. change the battery to UBE because this is a 52 volt battery. So now what this will do, it'll actually read the actual voltage when I turn this on and insert the pack. So we've got it all done. Now for the test, let's see if we have working power. And it looks to be working. Alright, look for a video very soon of this in action. Thanks for watching, guys.